So this is, and if you do more, the more work you do on the criteria, generally I find you'll save yourself effort in terms of identifying targets, and that'll save you quite a bit of work, and will make the rest of the assignment flow better. Okay, so this one did, they identified a number of targets, and they explained why some of them weren't appropriate. Okay, that's one technique. I've seen other people do some sort of ranking. They'll rank each of the criteria. They'll give them, this one's the most important one, that it has, and this is my issue. It's still a bit general here. Major business, harbour business, freight business, warehousing, road transport. Well, that's still a pretty broad range of activities. Okay? I would have liked to have seen, say, we want a business that's involved in this because of that reason. And if we can't get that, then maybe it's this sector because of this particular reason. Okay? But they've done, they've thought about the industry, thought about the logical fits, and knocked some of them out because of various reasons. So there's a bit of thought that's gone on there. They've given an overview of K&S. Fine, don't necessarily, I just asked for what's the SWOT, but a little bit of background's nice. Again, another reasonably good SWOT. They've done quite a bit of detail, good bit of an analysis. And as I think I've got the comment, sort of commentary there. They're fairly specific points. They've actually dug into new contracts with these customers. What's happening in New Zealand? What's happening in Australia? So they've done a bit of research. They haven't just looked at it at a superficial level. And does the target do their SWOTs? Do they match the criteria we've set? And some of this stuff down here is a little bit soft. So this is adequate, but not much more than that. Okay, so then an acquisition strategy, next part of the question. So this is not bad because they've answered the key questions. The offer should be friendly, and they've explained why it should be friendly. So that's a fairly key decision. As I said, it's an off-market bid. So this was back in 2005 or so. Schemes of arrangement hadn't really become particularly prevalent at that time. So as I said, it's an off-market bid. So you've got a bit more flexibility. It can be a scheme. If you think it should be a joint venture or some sort of other arrangement, let's run with that. How should it be paid for? Mix of cash and shares. So they've covered the key points there. And I've set down sort of an indicative timeline. I suppose I'm more interested in terms of timing around, it's not so much whether it's going to take 3 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever, it's more what time of year. Is there some major corporate event that's going to actually encourage us to take action? So we're going to wait until they produce the P&L, or is there a demerger going on? Or is there, rumours that some other competitor is entering the market or about to make a bid? Or is it that the CEO is about to resign, about to leave in 3 months' time? So it's that sort of corporate event that would drive, okay, we need to get in before that, or we need to wait until that's happened. Okay. So hopefully this stuff ties back and it's broadly consistent with what we've identified as the criteria and the SWOTs. Staffing, a little bit of verbiage. Okay, valuation. So they've just done this one's just done a PE-based valuation. As I said, I asked you to do a valuation. A PE-based valuation is sufficient, or a DCF valuation is sufficient. If you want to get extra marks, you would ideally do both. Cross-check. I'm only expecting you to go at a reasonably high level, and that's what this assignment's done. They've looked at the history, so they've done a bit more than just go profit is this, therefore future maintainable profit is X. They've actually looked at the trend. They've actually got some forecasts. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with the fact that, I don't know how they've got US dollars, but anyway, don't know how they've got from sort of this level of profitability now to suddenly say this thing's going to be earning 10.6 to 14.9. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that when you look at the trend, but there's evidence that they've done a bit of thought. Okay? Doesn't have to be quite as much as that, but if you're building a spreadsheet, then let's do a little bit of detail around it and have a bit of a look. Just have a look and think, what's the trend? Ideally, you'd like to understand what's happened here. Yeah, I would have thought that a number of future maintainable profit level of sort of after tax, after interest and tax is somewhere closer to 10, 11, perhaps even 9-ish, looking at that trend. But, okay. And they've looked at some comparables in the market. What do we see in the market in terms of comparable price earnings multiples? So I'm not sure what they've done here in terms of whether that's today's price, looking back at the profitability in each of these years, and this is compared to forecast profitability. But hopefully at least you would look and go, okay, what's the current multiples we see in the market based upon their historic earnings, the sort of stuff that appears in the financial review and most of the finance websites. And the more sophisticated sites will give us a forecast PE as well. So they look at what's this company's forecast earnings compared to their current price, and that hopefully gets rid of any sort of unusual levels of profit that are in the actual results. So if they had a bad year, we'll see the PE sort of goes out of line. So what I'd expect is you look at this and go, right, it seems that if you're in this industry, close comparables, that we're looking at a trucking company. So freight, that's a close comparable, that's a trucking business. Brambles is a bit different, certainly not Qantas and Virgin Blue. Toll, which is ourselves anyway. So again, you start to see this problem of there's not a lot of close comparables in the Australian market. I would have thought that sort of Freightways and K&S are broadly comparable, and they seem to be trading on similar sorts of multiples. Okay, so they said K&S PE is very similar to the multiples of the companies in the industry, which it sort of is, but then they make, I think my biggest issue with this assignment and what they've done in the valuation is they've then just applied the price earnings multiple rather than looking across the industry and coming up with what they think is reasonable. They picked up the price earnings multiple of the target itself. And against that applied the target's future maintainable profit forecast, which all you will then derive is the target's market capitalisation.